Hi, it's the Daily News for Toronto for Sunday, the January the 20th. So apparently 35 new warming spaces in the city for homeless people opened up on Saturday in like a new space. And the YWCA's new shelter is going to open on Monday, and it looks like the beds are really, really short. Like the beds look so small. And there's still tons of people stuck outside. CTV interviewed Project Winter Survival's executive director on Sunday. They're preparing like 21,000. They've got 21,000 requests for survival kits, according to her. And there's also no news on what's going on with the tent city residents under the Gardner next to Spadina. Like, this is basically eviction week, because on January 15th, Global interviewed the city spokesperson who said they started issuing eviction notices asking people to be out within 2 weeks. And that was on the 10th. So that means the day after 14 days is this Thursday on the 21st. And it's still just dangerously cold in the city. Meanwhile, a woman wandered into a West End hospital. This is on Sunday morning with gunshot wounds. CTV News reported on it, and the details are super, super vague. No description of the victim, no description of the suspects. No, they said they didn't know where it took place. But once again, people wandering into hospitals with like deadly wounds on foot. So Narcity recently reported that 2 people had tweeted about Toronto police threatening homeless people with cold water or dumping cold water on. One of these tweets was somebody saying that somebody that she talked to reported that a police officer had threatened to dump water on him to get him to move. And then another tweet was kind of vaguely about police dumping water on people's belongings in the tent city. And a whole bunch of people have been retweeting this stuff, but those 2 Twitter users haven't, like, nobody's interviewed them. They haven't said additional stuff about it. Narcity hasn't reported on it. So it's a little difficult to find information about this rumor that they reported on. There's Environment Canada is warning us that our skin could get frostbite in minutes if we venture outside on Monday. So okay. So U.S. House Democrats might they're talking about evaluating their border with Canada because it's so it's risky as well. And so CTV on Sunday did this article about this, just rounding up some of the different claims. The most recent one is by Ralph Goodale. He's the public safety minister. and that was a report from Wednesday. And there's anyway. So they might, I don't know. There's articles saying like Canada fires shots back and it defends ourselves against whatever, and then there's no mention of like any Canadian response. I don't know, some of this, it's like as if my own journalism isn't bad enough. A lot of these articles are like, this person said, this person said, this person said, and they don't say when they said it or where or whatever. It's now that I'm actually trying to do meta journalism from other people's journalism, I'm starting to notice it's like also kind of weak in a lot of cases. And these articles about this coming out of CTV are like that. But I'm going to offer my 2 cents on this. Like, borders are checkpoints, and checkpoints are so annoying to try to man, and it really is it's very challenging to try to impose the type of security that like these American politicians are talking about by using borders, which are just big checkpoints. Running checkpoints completely sucks. It's such a pain in the ass. It's just, man, anyone who's tried to run one, it's like you can make it work under certain circumstances. It's good for some things, but I just do not think that that people can expect the kind of security that they want from walls and from checkpoints and stuff like that. It's just too much of a, every security system just has its limitations, and checkpoints are so limited. They're just almost to the point of being like useless sometimes. They're so limited. On Friday and over the weekend, this is like American news or whatever. Over the weekend, all these like the internet, right? The internet, which is people, right? And news media have been trying to rehash and figure out what the hell happened at this weird activist standoff at the Covington Catholic High School in Washington. And this is on a day when there was like the March for Life and the Indigenous Peoples March in the city at the same time. And in this particular location, the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, or activists representing that or for that movement, were apparently demonstrating at this Catholic high school. And I've got to watch through all of there's so much video on this or whatever, but the Globe and Mail tried to sum it up in a January 20th article. They just they basically try to quote these two people who had this intense standoff. Nick Sandman, this teenage MAGA hat wearing high school kid, who like his high school class is like waiting for the bus after coming out of school as this Indigenous Peoples March is ending, is like concluding their action at that location. And they were getting heckled by the Black Hebrew Israelite movement activists, and so it's just these three. I don't even know if I'm reporting on this right, because it's just so. But it's like, okay, so these I don't know, this situation occurred, which climaxed with this. So it's Nick Sandman versus Nathan Phillips, one of the Indigenous activists at the I'm assuming that showed up with the Indigenous Peoples March. And so the general situation was getting out of hand, and it just climaxed with this weird sort of eye standoff thing between this teenager and this Indigenous elder who is he's like trying to apply music to the situation, and so he's drumming and singing, and they're like so close, and they're just like eye locked and stuff like that. And I'm watching this footage, I'm like, I honestly can't tell what this teenage kid and like these other teens around him are what headspace they're in. I feel like they're in a whole bunch of different headspaces. Like I'm just, there's like this long videos on this, and I've seen weird stand-ups like this happen at protests and stuff. But this one is intense. This one is like a doozy. This one is wild. So I'm gonna spend some time watching the full video and all this different stuff, and it's trippy. I don't know. It's trippy when a whole bunch of, it's like, so the mega so these high school kids are coming out, and they're like, okay, well, the scene was just so intense between these like religious activists and the indigenous activists, and so we were gonna chant our high school cheer chants, our morale chants, which are all positive, to like add our voice of peace to the situation. And then but according to like Nathan Phillips, the chants weren't all like altruistic and nice. Some of them were like not appropriate and unacceptable. And according to this teenage guy, you know, he's like, well, no, nobody was saying anything hateful. And they're both saying like, I was trying to apply like my piece to the situation to so that it would, this is, I don't know. Holy, as activism gets weird. So have a great, this is eviction week for the Gardner people. It's cold. Have a great week. Have a great Monday. Have a great Monday. Good luck outside. Having I'm about to hit the road. I'm not sure what it's like out there. I didn't even know about this special wolf moon thing. Apparently if you miss that, like me, because you're a total space cadet, or you just like, I fell asleep at 9:30, but we might be able to see another one in 2 years. So for the Toronto news for Sunday, it's Historian Sky.